Hey there guys, welcome back to What Cheers. I'm Nick as always. Tonight we're going to take a look at a couple of very special beers that are from Toronto, Canada. These come courtesy of my friend Adam, who set up a trade with me. He lives up there in Toronto, and he flew into Aspen with these in his luggage on vacation, and then sent me them from there because it is very tricky sending alcohol from Canada to the US. So he brought them with him on his trip and then mailed them to me. So very excited to try these, and the main reason is because both of these beers are single hopped with the Nelson Sauvin, which is one of my favorite hops ever. And he was able to get his hands on a few of these to send to me, and he wanted to try some New England stuff. So I sent him some Treehouse, Trillium, and Lawson. So yeah guys, about these beers, one is a single hop Nelson Sauvin Pale Ale, which is the Monogamy, and then the other is a double IPA single hop Nelson called Double Nelson. So really there's not a whole ton to talk about here, except that I'm really excited to try both of these. They're both very fresh. They were just brewed, just bottled. The double IPA was a one-off. They'd never done this one before. And then the Monogamy, this is the second time they've done the Nelson Sauvin version. It took them 2 years. They were on a wait list for 2 years to get another round of Nelson Sauvin hops, another crop. So they've waited a long time to brew these beers, and obviously Nelson is one of the most sought after hops for brewers, so it makes sense that you got to get in line and wait a long time sometimes to get this hop to make these kind of beers. So both these beers are from Bellwoods Brewery up in Toronto, Canada. And we'll start with some information on the Nelson Sauvin Pale Ale here. It's 6.4% alcohol in the Pale Ale. For malts, it's using Pilsner, wheat, oats, and melanoidin, and American ale yeast. As far as the Double Nelson, guys, it is a double IPA, single hop with Nelson. It's a one-off. They obviously made both these beers at the same time when they got that crop of Nelson into the brewery. And this one is 8%. For malts, it says it's used Munton's Pale, Carahel, Carafoam, rye, and wheat, and an American ale yeast again, and just Nelson Sauvin. So I think that's it for the details on these beers, guys. Let's get these things cracked open. They've both been out of the fridge now for about a half hour. They're getting to that perfect temperature to crack open here, and the bottling date on the Monogamy was July 14th, and the bottling date on the Double Nelson was July 16th, and today is August 11th, so we are under a month on both of these by a few days. So without further ado, thanks again, Adam. Let's get these cracked open, and we'll see what this brewery has to offer. All right, guys, got the Monogamy Nelson and the Double Nelson poured out, and as you can see, these look completely different, as you'd expect, I suppose, pale to a double IPA. So let's get a look, guys. Yeah, right here we got about a 2-finger head that dissipated pretty fast, 6.4%, so not too surprising, but amazing lacing already on this beer. I haven't really even touched it yet, and it is definitely like super hazy, very bright orange slash lemon color. Yeah, it just looks awesome, guys. You can see that. Totally hazy though, can't see through it. Very bright though, like a bright orange, bright yellow color. Now look at this one. It's like night and day comparatively. So again, it had about a 2-finger head, but it dissipated, you know, pretty fast, but it's hanging on. Lacing again, I can see the lacing already. This one is also hazy. It's this really deep, dark golden, almost amber color to it. And yeah, I mean, it's hazy. Both these are hazy. They're not like, they don't look super thick hazy, but they both are opaque. You cannot see through them. But yeah, they both look really in that New England style again. Away from the light, it's definitely like an amber color. It's very deep, dark, almost reddish color. So guys, you can see what they look like. Let's go ahead and get to the important stuff. And also the head on this one was super light and fluffy head. Super light, fluffy head. And then this one looks a bit thicker, a bit creamier. You can definitely tell it's a denser head. Both of them have pretty tightly packed bubbles. I can smell Nelson Sauvin out the wazoo over here, so let's go ahead and get an aroma on these brews. Oh, yes, 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 yes. You see, there's a right and a wrong way to do Nelson. I feel like it can be very easily go in one direction that's not very good, which is very earthy and dirt kind of aroma to it, and the other direction is a very like savoury, as they said, and then white grape, white wine. I'm looking for wine characteristics out of Nelson Sauvin. Oh, it just smells so good. It's just like intoxicating. Yeah, if you've ever had a good white wine, you know, on a hot summer day, and you just take that smell, you're like, oh, this is gonna be so refreshing. That's what it smells like. Really bright citrus notes to it, some tropical, some pineapple, mango in there. Bright lemon, lime, orange peel. White wine, white grape, grape skin. No earthiness and no real dankness. I guess you could say like it has a slight dankness, but it's mainly an acidic kind of citrusy tone to it. Oh, this beer, I mean, the aroma on this is 100. This is exactly what you want when you have a Nelson beer, and this is just a pale ale. This thing's really fucking amazing smelling. This is why you gotta let these beers warm up though, guys, because you would not be getting that right out of the gate, out of the fridge, and yeah. So that smells fucking amazing for a Nelson pale ale. Perfect. Let's get an aroma on this double one. This looks a little like it's going to be a little maltier just by the appearance. Well, let's get an aroma on it, guys. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. It's like night and day. Oh, I think this one's going to be a malt bomb, guys. Yeah, I mean, just that color, you just know it. You're not going to be in for something like this. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bit of a letdown. I had a feeling. I did look up, you know, what people were reviewing these ahead of time a little bit. It just smells very caramelly, very malty. There's a slight, I can see the Nelson in the background behind the malt, the caramel kind of malt going on, but it's really overshadowed by that caramel malt. Again, what is there in the background is that bright citrus, sort of acidic note with that white grape, white wine, but it's really masked. Maybe when this warms up to like room temp, it'll come out more, but yeah, it almost smells right now like a hard candy, like a Jolly Rancher type of thing. It just has that like caramelly malt like shell around it. But it is there. It just sort of smells like a Jolly Rancher, like a caramel covered fruit candy or something like that. But clear winner aroma is this bad boy here. So let's go ahead and get a sip without further ado, guys. Cheers. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it, man. This came a long way from Toronto to Aspen to Providence. So cheers, man. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, so good. Wow. Wow, that totally transitions beautifully. That's an amazing pale ale. Amazing. Oh, this thing is the shit. It's spot on. If you handed me this and told me it was Trillium, Treehouse, Hill Farmstead, Lawson's, I believe you in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, I would believe you that this is anything from the best breweries in New England. As far as a Nelson Sauvin single hop beer, easily I would tell you that. I would not guess this was from out of the country. I would not guess this was from Toronto. Completely New England style. Almost no freaking malt to this beer whatsoever. It is just all about the Nelson Sauvin hop. Everything you got in the aroma, all his explosive notes in the aroma are there in the flavor, and then some. Right up front, huge blast of that white grape, that white wine, just general characteristic to it. Bright citrus notes, just like a melange of bright citrus notes, lemon, lime, orange peel. Then it's smooth. This beer drinks very, very smooth on the palate. It's creamy. The carbonation's like very tight. It just glides over your palate. It finishes in that very, very New England style again, where it's dry and it's super, super hoppy, but zero bitterness. Zero. I mean, it's so well done. All you're left with in the finish is that grapefruit rind kind of drying, almost just a flavor of it. There's no bitterness though to speak of. Yeah, there's a huge blast of juicy sweetness up front. Wow. A little bit of that bready, kind of crackery malt thing in the middle of the mouth. But I did remember that this said it used oats, which makes sense that helps the mouthfeel. Guys, are you kidding me? Look at the lacing on this fucking beer. Holy crap. 6.4%, you can't smell it or taste it whatsoever. It's completely hidden. You're just getting that, again, just picture a white wine on a hot summer day. That's what this has. Bright citrus notes, a touch of earthiness, very, very slight, but mainly just those bright citrus notes and white wine characteristic. Super smooth and creamy. Just coats your palate. Super dry in the finish. Tons of flavor. Wow, that's just mind blown. Drop the mic on that one right there. All right, guys, I'm gonna get a sip of water here, and we'll do the double Nelson. All right, guys, time for the double Nelson taste. Let's go ahead and do that. Cheers. Thank you, Adam. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is gonna sound really weird, and I'm just being honest here. If you guys saw my review of Boom Sauce from Lord Hobo, I immediately, I'm sorry, Adam, but that's honestly what this tastes like to me. It is so malty. It's got hops to it, but it is just, it reminds me of that beer Lord Hobo made, Boom Sauce. And I did not care for that one a lot at all, so. It just smells like that caramel covered candy thing. Let's get another sip, guys. I think this is definitely better than the Boom Sauce, but it does remind me of that because it is just totally too much malt, too much of that caramel flavor. It does taste fresher than that beer did, the Boom Sauce. The notes in this are much more balanced. There is citrus and juicy notes in the back end, but I would never be able to tell you this was a Nelson Sauvin beer. It just wouldn't happen. I couldn't tell you that. I would just say it. This tastes closer to like an aged double IPA. But there's no way I'd be able to tell you this was Nelson Sauvin hopped. I wouldn't even be able to tell you what it was hopped with. It is very, very creamy. I could tell that from the beginning. This was a very, very creamy beer. They made it very soft. It's got a nice huge body to it for a double IPA. Very creamy, velvety. 8% is definitely well hidden. Again, it's better hidden than the Boom Sauce was. Definitely integrates better into this beer than I expected it to, because it is 8% and it's pretty well hidden. A lot of those caramel malt tones though, some citrus in the back end, but I'm not picking up any of the nuances and all the crazy flavors, and just the clean kind of obviously crisp feel to this beer, without the malt being the star of the show, basically. Yeah, it's just too malty, I don't know why they did that. These guys obviously know what they're doing. I mean, have an example right here of doing it right. I'm not sure what the reasoning was to go with the malts that they used, because I think they could have done made this an amazing double IPA, and unfortunately it's just kind of a malt bomb. You know, the more I sip on it, the more you can adjust to it. I think if I didn't have this right next to it, it would definitely impress me more, but I still would, I mean, you'd be able to call that out in a heartbeat that it's kind of a malt bomb. But the fresh flavors behind the malt kind of let it slide a little bit. I mean, it is very fresh, this beer, so, and the hops they used were very fresh. So there is a lot of bright citrusy characteristics and juicy characteristics in the back end, but you have to really search for them, and you really shouldn't have to do that in a double IPA like this. And again, especially because they have one right here that they did that was perfect, so they know what they're doing. I'm not sure what happened here, but it's not a bad beer by any means, but definitely nowhere near what it should be for a Nelson Sauvin double IPA, in my opinion. Okay guys, so I'm going to sip on these for another few minutes and get back to you with my final thoughts and score, but I am very, very impressed with what I'm trying right here. This one's obviously amazing. This is what I was hoping for when we set this trade up, and this was what I was expecting, but I was expecting it from both of them, and this is a huge shock to me. I did not expect this beer to come out like this, so I will let it warm up a little bit more and come back with my final thoughts and score, so hang tight. Alright guys, so I've been sipping on these two brews for a bit and letting them warm, and pretty much my thoughts remain the same. We have one over here that is just, I mean, they nailed it. This beer pretty much is perfect. The only thing I could use a touch more of is a mouthfeel on this beer, and really the only reason I'm saying that is because this one over here has the killer mouthfeel. This one has a mouthfeel that is like treehouse, like it's thick, it's velvet. Not that the mouthfeel here is weak, it's still good, but if it had a little bit more just beef to it, a little bit more body to it, it's still, I mean, this is the clear winner, guys. They nailed this beer hard. Like, it's fucking world class. And it tastes like the best thing out of New England as far as a pale ale is concerned. So that's that. And again, this one, nothing really improved, guys, unfortunately, as it warmed. It's still just, it's the malts they used. I don't know why they did that, because they knew what they were doing here again, but it's just like a caramel covered fruit candy, which it's fine. It's not offensive at all. You can drink it. It's just that that's not what you're looking for in a double IPA these days. So I will say though, in the beer's defense, 8% is really, really well hidden. I can't smell it. I can't taste it. There's really no bitterness. There's a very slight bitterness to it. And for a double IPA, that's really impressive. That is in the New England style, having little to no bitterness. And, the mouthfeel for days, it's got that. It really has a lot going for it, except for the malt, which is just totally detracting from, it's taking away from showcasing the hop, which is unfortunately, was supposed to be the star of the show. And yeah, 8%, super drinkable. It's got juicy flavors, and also it has a really big hop presence to it. I mean, this beer is super, super hoppy, and I can taste that. It's just unfortunately masked by the malts. But it's sweet, it's juicy, and then it finishes kind of mouth coating, to be honest with you. And really no bitterness to speak of. It's really, really good beer. It's just they fucked up on the malts. It could have been something really epic, but that's what I have to say about that, guys. So as far as the score on these, the Monogamy Pale Ale here, I mean, you're really not going to find much better for a single hop Nelson Pale Ale anywhere. I really believe that. Yeah, as it warms up, it's got that earthiness, it's got that total white wine character, citrus, tropical fruit, tons and tons of white grape, almost like a burn from the hop acidity from the citrus notes. It's just really, really perfection. I'm gonna go really high on this one. I'm gonna go 99 plus. And the only reason I'm not gonna give it the straight 100 is because I wish there was a touch more mouthfeel, but really it's near perfection. 99 plus for the Monogamy Pale Ale, guys. As far as the Double Nelson. This is a tough one for me because it has a lot of great things going on in it, and I don't want to rate it too low. But the malt, you know, you can't excuse that for this kind of beer at this point in time. But because it is really well made and everything else is great about it, I think I'm gonna go 94. Yeah, I'm gonna go 94 on this one, guys. Just a straight 94. You know, it's not quite up there, but it's still a really, really good beer. Yeah, everything about it is really amazing, but that malt just kills it for me. That's too bad, but I'm gonna have no problem finishing these beers, and I want to thank Adam again. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. I know you enjoyed what I sent you, and I know that you were excited to see this review, and I'm very, very, very pleased that we did the trade, and I'm very happy I got to try these. And I know you have a couple more that you sent me that I'm going to do a review of as well, so we'll have to see how those are. And those are both pale ales, I believe, so that should be really good, because if it's anything like this, it's going to be fucking amazing. So I'm going to go enjoy the rest of these guys. 99 plus, Monogamy Nelson, and 94 for the Double Nelson. So thanks for watching, guys. Please let me know if you've had these. I really don't know if I have too many Canadian subscribers. You'll have to let me know. Maybe I do, maybe I don't know. So let me know if anyone's tried these beers. Please, I'd love to know your thoughts. And until next time, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next beer review. All right, cheers.